actually forking the knight and queen. So if black doesn't want to exchange queens, he's only got one move basically, queen c8. Oh, actually no, sorry, he's got knight b6 according to him. Knight b6 just protecting the queen. Queen takes a4 just seems unpalatable. White's just going to convert, surely he's an extra pawn up. So he played queen c8. And now rook c1 was played. So it seems as though Carlsen's in a consolidation mode all of a sudden. He's won an a-pawn. It's not as though, you know, white's a-pawn's going to queen here. It's just the devastating effect to the rest of black's position. And the bishop, you know, is not really doing much on d8. The knight's not doing much on a8. But anyway, it reroutes out, knight b6. And now Topalov plays an interesting move, queen h3. But there's a tactical solution here to evict this queen, which Carlsen uses, just queen f3. Of course, black doesn't want to exchange off queens. But if he takes on h4, there's a really nasty trap here. Rook g4, and the queen is getting trapped. Because queen h5, there's rook h1, and it's checkmate to the queen. So the queen has to get, it's evicted basically, it's an eviction notice. So queen d7. And now white plays, not the active move sort of h5, there's no need for that, because if hg and f got nice f-file pressure, Carlsen had the possibility of f4. So king g7 was played. And I thought in the game like rook g3 would be a useful move. So rook g3, that's okay, that keeps all white's trumps. What Carlsen did play was actually rook c2. Because I thought rook g3, knight e2, and then maybe take and rook b3 would be dangerous. But rook c2 as well was just, you know, preparing maybe to double up rooks. And then knight e2 is fine as well. So white is just clearly sitting on black now, as if it's a consolidation now. You know, he's re-centralising his pieces. His queen's, you know, back in the centre, not on a4. The rooks are ready to exchange, well, one pair of rooks. So Topalov plays f6, and he's weakening slightly his king on the g file. So g takes, and now h5. Now if black takes on f2, well, black did take on f2, but initially I thought, oh, this was not a possible move, because hg, if hg here, there's rook takes g6. And this is just awful for black, I think, because taking this, and the black king seems exposed. 2 units up according to Ripker anyway. So only move here, h6. The problem is the f5 square. If white can get a knight to f5, that would be devastating. White did actually play knight d1. Black took on c2. Now instead of queen takes c2, there's the option of knight takes f2. If queen takes c2, black has maybe rook h2 here. So that's annoying because of this rook pin on the queen. If knight e3, it's not maybe as effective. No, but well, maybe it still is effective. It's creeping up now in white's favour here, this evaluation. So that's fine as well. That would be great as well. Carlsen actually took on f2 actually instead of queen takes c2. And it's still good for white. The black rook moves, and then now knight g4. So there's still this manoeuvre, knight e3 to f5 coming up. Black tries to delay it a bit with bishop g5 so he can take on e3. But now white has knight f3. And if black tries to keep control of e3 by playing bishop f4, I think there's just knight h4 now, with the idea of knight f5. So a knight's coming into f5 whether black likes it or not. What Topalov played was knight c4. And after the knight takes, hg, his king's getting ripped to shreds, really. His king's safety. Although white, you know, you would think he's only a pawn up. So he plays knight e3. Oh, it's only a pawn up here. But, you know, what about g5? And you would think, oh, hold on, you can solve this g5 problem. You don't have to protect it. By playing what Topalov played, queen a4. So he's hitting e4. But that is just losing now. Did Topalov have any better? Could he have just played queen e7? Not queen f7, queen e7. Well, here, I wouldn't fancy the rook and pawn ending necessarily. Apparently rook takes g5 is much stronger, because now there's threats of like rook a5 h5, I think, is the key threat. Now, if rook h8 here, then rook f5. And this is really dangerous because so rook f7 is threatened. So this kind of position is just getting worse and worse for black. So what Topalov played was queen a4, just hitting e4. So he allows g5 to drop. He takes on e4. The king moves. But now there's dire threats of rook c1 and rook f1 potentially. And queen e7. Sorry, not rook c1. If the rook moves from c8, there'll be rook c1. So the major threat at the moment is just queen e7. So black tries to parry that with rook e8. And now not the disastrous blunder rook h1, because queen takes h1, and Carlsen will never sleep for the rest of the year. He just plays rook c1, and the rook's coming to the 7th rank with decisive effect. So say we'll choose this move, queen f3, check, king g8, queen h6, spike check. Now here actually this is interesting because if king a2 there's queen takes d5, but here it's just rook c1, and then if queen takes d5, check, now the rook comes to f1, forcing it a mate. So in this position after rook c1 it was totally hopeless actually. Topalov resigned after rook c1. He didn't play anything else. Let's have a look at this game in overview and summary and see, how did that collapse occur, just losing the a pawn. Fascinating strategy from white. Seemingly not doing much and even allowing, black to have this clamping kind of restraining pawn on a4. So bishop b5, the first quite interesting move. And black tried to do something active with his bishop, but he ended up losing that a4 pawn once he played knight a8 because it was undefending that pawn. So Carlsen pounced with bishop c5 and queen a4. And now, he's re-centralising his queen basically. First evicting the black queen, then putting it nicely in the centre. From the centre it radiates in all directions and stops any more pesky queen moves from black, like queen h3s. So it's consolidation mode basically, and now this rook c2, as if Carlsen's not committing to any pawn move, he's just going to double up rooks and play knight e2. So he got Topalov even more desperate, so he weakened his own king position, and now the f5 square, clear target for getting a knight to. So maybe queen takes c2 is more accurate according to Rybka here, but what was played is just as good because the knight can still reroute to f5. This is only a temporary defence, this bishop g5. So here, it just looks as though, superficially, black's only a pawn down, but his king's now wrecked because of the simplification. It's very difficult for black to defend squares as he used to with more pieces on the board and around his king. So e7 is like a major issue now because there's less pieces that black has. So he defends it with the only thing he can, and rook c1 is just overload now, total overload. And Topalov resigned. I hope you enjoyed that. Another game really where Carlsen won the a pawn and then beat his 2700 plus opponents. Fascinating. Please leave any comments or questions on YouTube. Thanks very much.